So we're going to talk a little bit about this dynamic, and what's fueling concern on both sides is the uncertainty, because the reality is no one knows who's going to win. And the other thing that's fueling it is the mixed data that people pour over and try to find holes in the polls that they don't like. It's not just human nature, but particularly for people who are frontward facing, public facing, to spin the bad polls, to try to point out flawed methodology, to point out other polls that don't show the same thing. But what I have found in the last week, about a week, is a much more negative private sense from people on both sides, but particularly on the Democratic side, but not exclusively, as to where things stand, and a concern that this persistent thing that we've discussed many times on this platform, that Vice President Harris isn't doing enough to show folks the specifics of what she do as president, and that she's not super liberal. That there's concern that the efforts to do that are not vigorous enough. And for instance, if you look at the Oprah event, which by some measures of communication was very successful, very little there that put more detail out. Now, she is supposed to be giving this speech on Wednesday, and we'll see how that goes. There is the promise from her communications team of more interviews, more public events. But the general worry amongst some Democrats is that she's not really trying to address these concerns. She's simply trying to create the appearance of addressing these concerns, and that's not good enough to win. And that their suspicion is that on the campaign side, they do think it's good enough to win. Now, there's two criticisms which have been raised here before of that point of view. One is Donald Trump's not particularly specific on a range of issues, and number two, as Stephanie Ruhle said, there are some Democrats who say we don't care about being specific, we just need to win, and no one should vote for Donald Trump whether he's specific or not. Those concerns, I know people have them, or those positions, I know people have them. But as I said earlier on the morning meeting, you can have those positions, but it doesn't mean Kamala Harris is going to win. And it could mean she's making a mistake in the way she's approaching this. So